Hello, and thank you for watching Chiron's Tech News. Let's rock and roll. You know that Rick Astley video, Never Gonna Give You Up? In case you haven't been on the internet in the last 10 years, people basically like to trick other people into watching that video because it's considered funny. Just like explaining jokes also makes them way funnier. In any case, I wanted to let you all know something really important right now. All that meme posting of his video, it's up to 93 million views right now. Seriously, 930,460,863 views. Almost 1 billion, okay? So Social Media Blade estimates this channel could be earning between 90,000 and 1.4 million per year. That's a big range. But YouTuber Tobes made a video where he talks fairly openly about his profits. Apparently he's made over just $300 from his channel's 1 million total views. $300 for 1 million. What am I at right now? Check it later. Anyway, here's my point. In his video, he talks about how his top earning video earned an average of 81 cents per 1,000 views. So using that metric, Rick Astley could be making $750,000 per year in pure meme money. Now, I can't play this video because I respect other people's property. However, instead, I present Mr. Bananas playing piano with his face. Speaking of YouTube, they have released info about their Argos effort, a project to build computer chips and hardware designed especially for encoding videos. They say that moving the work to these VCU processors, or video coding units, improves efficiency by 20 to 33%, depending on the nature of the video stream. This makes encoding videos faster, as well as it makes it more power efficient. Cool. I actually have liked Apple products for years. But you know what would be great? If I could go a day on this channel without having to report about some Apple shenanigans. Not today. macOS users are at grave risk of hackers using what's been described as one of the worst vulnerabilities to affect the tech giant's computers in years, according to Forbes. Basically, hackers still have to convince you to download and run a bad app that's not in the App Store, but if you do that, the malware won't be stopped by any other protections of Mac OS's defensive tools. Although the Mac should protect critical system files and ask the user to use things like photos or the microphone. The bug was first reported to Apple by security researcher Cedric Owens, who discovered it in mid-March. What's the advice from Patrick Wardy, a former NSA analyst and Mac OS security expert? Quote, "Don't open anything from anybody," end quote, if your system is unpatched. So basically, download the patch, apply it, you'll be fine. Hey, you know what runs on macOS? The new DaVinci Resolve that I'm now using instead of Final Cut Pro. And it's awesome. Oh, and it runs on Linux, where this kind of baloney doesn't happen. Oh yeah. CBC reports that a TELUS spokesperson, Liz Souvet, wrote that in a very bizarre and uniquely Canadian turn of events, internet service was down for about 900 customers in the Tumbler Bridge area of BC after a beaver chewed through a critical fiber optic cable, causing extensive damage. The little guy actually chewed through the cable at multiple points, going down on Saturday, April the 24th, around 4 a.m. When questioned about the event, the beaver's response was, "And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids." The beaver's lawyer could not be reached for comment. And now it's time for retro news. Oh, and in my last episode, I talked about browsing the old web. Well, quick follow-up. The guy that made 68K News, which I talked about, also made FrogFind. It lets you search the modern web, but returns its results in a very plain text format readable by older browsers. It also automatically converts any site you click on, giving you a web experience of old, but using the modern web for content. Here, let me show you here. I'll actually, here we go. FARTS. And there we go. See? Look at all these results. It's fantastic. Look, I'll click on the Wikipedia one. Look at that. All text. So you render that on an old browser, you're laughing. All right. And now for something a little more serious. In my final story tonight, I want to talk about something I've noticed is a total hot button issue for parents for quite some time now. I'm referring to that nasty word that strikes fear in the hearts of parents and children alike. Screen time. Or tech time, depending on what you call it in your home. The first link I have here reviews the research on the topic and is from the American Psychological Association called What Do We Really Know About Kids and Screens? Research by psychologists and others is giving us a better understanding of the risks and potential benefits of children's and teens' use of digital devices. It's a vast and complicated topic, so I've made sure to include all the links I talk about in the video description below. I want you to be able to do your own homework and follow up because, yeah, it's a big topic. It's an impossibly and uniquely difficult thing to raise kids for both parents and children. But in the last few years, we've seen something that doesn't exist before. Many kids now have access to an internet-connected screen that would have been science fiction only a few decades ago, both in the technology itself and the fact that it's cheap enough that parents can afford to get this technology for their kids. But what's okay? How do you know what enough screen time is? What's too much? Well, fear not, because I've built a device. Oh yes, this device scans your children and tells you exactly the right amount of screen time for them so that you can be sure that you did the right thing as a parent and that you're completely blame-free when they grow up and work through their feelings in therapy. Just kidding, of course, but that's what reading the research can feel like. Just when you think you're getting the answer, it gets complicated again. The Canadian Pediatric Society has released surprising new screen time rules. Stop watching the clock, says CPS, but that doesn't mean parents shouldn't be heavily involved in their kids' media use. It goes on to talk about how the AAP says no screen time at all for children until 18 to 24 months, except for video chatting, and says kids ages 2 to 5 get 1 hour or less of screen time per day. The WHO similarly recommends no screens for kids under 2 and less than 1 hour a day for kids ages 2 to 5. After age 5, things are not really defined. The problem is that this technology is so new and research time is needed to study this further. However, that doesn't mean there isn't something concrete that can be done today. Now, I wish I could blame the tech companies. It would be so much easier. However, what is important to know is that certain games and social media sites hire neuroscientists that specialize in understanding dopamine and its role in addiction in order to make children and adults get the maximum payoff possible just by using their app. Now, obviously the science is more complicated, but yes, dopamine plays an important role in addiction. According to an article in The Guardian, Sean Parker, the founding president of Facebook, who resigned in 2005, recently admitted that, quote, the thought process was, how do we consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible, end quote. And that to achieve this goal, Facebook's architects exploited a, quote, vulnerability in human psychology, end quote. So this is right out there. No conspiracy theory required. But here's the real deal. Great parenting isn't about numbers. It's not really about the screen time. It's about what's going on in children's lives overall. A screen can be a passive device like a TV, a socialization gateway like a phone, or a tool of learning like a computer, something to discover and grow on. It can also be a sedentary activity that just burns time. And more importantly, like anything else, it can be an addiction. Now, I could talk about going to university for computer science and psychology, could talk about decades of experience working in technology. I could talk about my training in psychotherapy, a program that teaches people how to be psychotherapists. Or I could just keep it positive and use a simple example from my own childhood. So, you know that Chiron Pictures logo at the beginning of my video? Well, I made that on my first computer, an Amiga 500, when I was about 12. I made videos with the home camcorder and used that to make title screens. And now I use it as a tip of the hat to the little kid that's still kicking around somewhere inside me. I used that computer to make graphics, music, programming, and even learning how the Amiga operating system worked. I have a good part of my tech career to thank for that machine and the time that I was allowed to spend on it. My point is context. Context matters. What screens are your kids using? What are they doing with them? Get them to show you. Don't just ask, engage. I know a kid, and one of the first things she did when she got her first iPhone, she just used the calculator app and like a piece of paper and then just like added a bunch of random numbers together. Seriously, just for fun, wanted to see how big things could go. The point is, context matters. The other part of context that's important is everything else that the child is doing. What else is going on? Are they doing their homework? Their work around the house, is that getting done? How much family time are they engaging? How are their grades in school? Are they getting healthy food and good exercise? For me, when I was a kid, I used to get out on my bike and go exploring all over town. So it wasn't tech time 24/7, even if it was enriching tech time. However, when things go wrong, it's also important to ask questions and dig a little deeper. If it appears that a child is addicted to technology, you need to try and understand what's going on. Has tech time turned into such a hot button topic that it's being craved simply because it's inaccessible? And if so, has it been managed in a consistent way? Has it been managed in a random, whenever I catch them, I feel like it's been too long kind of way? Is there something else going on? Maybe something they're avoiding? Is there the potential for some other untreated issue, and somehow this addiction is a form of self-medication? It's tough. Now, I get the irony in suggesting a technology tool to help kids with technology, but just give this a chance. HealthyChildren.org has a web tool that helps you create a media plan for your family. It lets you enter some information about your kids and how much time they are spending, or should be spending, doing all the things important for being happy and healthy. It then shows you a bar that represents how much time is left over for screen time. You can find it on the left-hand side under Media Time Calculator. It also has a tool called Create Your Family Media Plan, again, right about there, and walks you through questions about some of the rules about the when and the where and the how technology is being used in the home. All right, now, after decades in management, let me tell you, buy-in is key. Ask your kids about another family you know and how much tech time you think those kids should get. Then when it's time to talk about your family plan, ask them what they think tech time should look like. If they feel they had a part in helping create the rules and they know you aren't going to police them constantly if they are staying true to those rules that they help set, then it's much more likely they are going to accept it. Hopefully, more often than not. But start from there. It helps building a sense of empowerment and buy-in. Of course, you're going to be making the ultimate decision, but they don't need to be reminded of that. The goal is about helping them develop their own inner parent. None of this is simple or easy, of course, but get curious, ask questions, do your homework, and look at the bigger picture. I know you got this. Well, unless you have twins. In that case, you're really screwed. So, how much screen time do you think kids should get? Let me know in the comments below. Good luck, and thank you for watching. One thing though, I gotta see that beaver again. Let me see if I can find that beaver, man. That was something. Look at this guy. Look at this beaver, this Canadian beaver. He ate the whole internet. He ate the internet. He ate the internet. Good for you.